Hey, look at your hands. Right now you are essentially a walking bag of water, carbon and complicated molecules, staring at a glowing screen, somehow turning tiny pixels into conscious thought. But why? How did you get here? Biology 101 says it's simple. Your parents made you, their parents made them. It's an unbroken chain of survival stretching back millions of years. Case closed, right? Except it's not. Because what happens when you follow that chain backwards? Your parents are parents, keep on walking down that rabbit hole, and eventually you face a brick wall. It takes two people to make a human. So somewhere down that line, there had to be a first human, right? A baby born human from parents that weren't quite human yet. Evolution doesn't work like a light switch. It's a slow, blurry line. So if there was never a magical first human, where does the line actually begin? To find out, we have to go back, way back, past your great-great-great-grandparents, past the ice ages. We meet Homo habilis, the handyman. They made many tools from stone like the Order 1 chopper, which was used to butcher animals and crush bone. Then came Homo erectus, about 2 million years ago. They were the first humans to walk out of Africa and push into Europe and Asia. At a place called Trinil, they did something incredible. Researchers found shells with holes drilled right into them, and when they tried to replicate this using a shark tooth, they realized that to open the shell this way, without breaking it, required a high-level understanding of mollusk anatomy. This shows that early humans were quite smart in surviving, evidently. And they weren't alone. Neanderthals, Denisovans, modern humans, we didn't just replace each other, we encountered each other, we looked at each other, and we mated. But we are still avoiding the real question. We know how humans evolve, but why is there life at all? Why is there an Earth? Why is there a universe for the Earth to be in? Why is there something rather than nothing? Let's try to prove there is nothing. Go ahead, try to imagine absolute nothingness. But wait, if you try to prove there is nothing, then there must be an observer. And when there's an observer, there is something. The very act of trying to prove there is nothing guarantees there's something. You can't escape existence. So if we can't explain it with biology, maybe we look at philosophy. Philosopher Brian Leftow argued that this question can't even have a normal answer. If we say A caused the universe, well, what caused A? And what caused that? And what caused that? And what caused that? It crashes our universe's logic. So how do we break the loop? Philosopher Robert Nozick had a totally bizarre idea. What if nothingness is actually a force? A force that acts on itself. A force that sucks nothingness into nothingness, and somehow, some way that collision produces something. Or maybe the universe requires an audience. According to a concept called biocentrism, the universe isn't just sitting there waiting for us. We exist as conscious beings to experience it and give it meaning. Without us, the universe is just a blind chaotic dance of quantum particles. You are the universe's way of making sense of itself. Some take the leap of faith and say God lit the first match. And maybe that's true, but for the rest of us staring into the dark, we don't know why there's something rather than nothing. But here we are, a species that went from crushing bones with rocks, to drilling holes in seashells, to asking the very void why it allowed us to exist in the first place. Instead of asking, why do I exist? A better question would be, how do I even know I exist in the first place? How do you know that you're not dreaming right now? How do you know that everything you see right now isn't just a simulation? In the 17th century, a philosopher named René Descartes obsessed over this exact problem. He doubted everything. His senses, the world, he even thought there was an evil demon projecting a fake reality into his mind. Amongst all of these uncertainties, there was only one thing that he could trust. Descartes could trust that he was actually thinking. And that's when it clicked. The very act of doubting proves that he has to be existing and thinking to do that doubting. At that exact moment, he said, I think. therefore I am. You might not know why the universe started or why you have hands, but you know you exist because you are conscious, you are a thinking thing, and right now that is the only proof you need. But wait, proving that you exist is one thing, figuring out what to do with that existence is another. You are trapped in a universe that refuses to answer your questions, and that friction between a mind desperate for meaning and a silent, indifferent universe has a name. The philosopher Albert Camus called it the absurd. It's that unsettling feeling you get when you realize the universe doesn't care about your plans, your dreams, or your questions. Camus said the only serious philosophical problem is suicide. It doesn't mean we should all give up. He meant that when you truly feel the absurd, when you're trying to find the meaning of life, but all you receive is silence, you face a choice. Is this life worth living? To answer this, we have to look at the Greek myth of Sisyphus. A man condemned by the gods to push a heavy boulder up a mountain for all eternity. Every time he gets to the top, the boulder rolls all the way back down. He has to start over. It sounds a lot like a nightmare. It sounds a lot like life. We wake up, we work, we struggle, and eventually a new day begins. We push our boulders day in and day out, fully aware that the universe isn't going to give us a gold star at the end of it. So, what do? You could just stop pushing. You could complain about everything bad in your life. But this is what Camus called philosophical suicide, because it avoids the problem instead of facing it. The other option is just face the absurdity head on. And this is where Camus drops a line that makes you rethink your entire life. He says, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." Wait, happy? How can Sisyphus be happy? Because Sisyphus isn't looking for a reward. He isn't pretending that the boulder will stay at the top. He looks at his endless, meaningless task and he pushes anyways. His rebellion, his sheer will to keep going despite how absurd it seems, becomes his purpose. The gods meant to punish him, but he owns the struggle. As Camus wrote, the struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. And that is the answer to how we live. We are all Sisyphus. If we stop looking at the grand cosmic why and start focusing on the how we experience pushing the boulder, how we find joy in a good cup of coffee, a morning jog, a conversation with a friend, we start to find fulfillment in our lives. We don't need the universe to make sense. We just need to make sense of ourselves. You think, therefore you are. You struggle, therefore you live. And maybe, just maybe, you can imagine yourself happy along the way.